Today is Friday, February the 7th at about 5 o'clock in the evening, and we can see here that since January the 10th or the 15th here, the Bitcoin dominance has made a top formation. The exponential moving averages crossed over. It broke down below that top formation, and as Bitcoin dominance has been dropping, Bitcoin prices have been rising. So this tells me that there is money coming into Bitcoin to make Bitcoin prices there in the background be going up. But there's more money coming into altcoins than there is just into Bitcoin right now. The last time we saw this happening was in March of 2017, where Bitcoin dominance came from a very high level and it dropped significantly while Bitcoin prices were going up at the same time. And so there was some huge profits to be made there. This video, I want to specialize on DOGE Coin, and I want to follow along the regular process that I normally do with Bitcoin. If you'd like me to go over an episode on a specific coin that you're watching, leave a comment down below and it may be one of the coins that I do next. Start off with the weekly view and the relative strength index and zoom our way in. Let's do an analysis on this. The first thing my eye goes to is the nearest charts and this powerful bullish weekly RSI setup. As we are breaking above this level, we are definitely in a bull season, and we can see many different times where we cross these levels just as Dogecoin bottom formations were breaking higher. Now I think we're in a really amazing position for Dogecoin. Let's zoom in on this on the daily time frame. We can see what a great setup we have in Dogecoin also, where the RSI is really showing strength here as the price is making a potential 1, 2, 3 formation. It's difficult to see because the chart has gone sideways for so long. Some technical traders will say that this can be a measured move where prices can be expected to make the same move high as they did sideways here in the bottom formation channel. Now, as I'm zooming in on the 12-hour RSI, we can see that there's been a big change, but the price hasn't moved that much. So we'll just have to keep observing this to see what's going on. The shorter time frames is showing much the same, where the RSI is really jumping up into a pretty good overbought territory, actually. So we'll pay attention to what's going on with this as things unfold. Let's go through our other indicators because I want to see what's going on with the on-balance volume when we zoom in on this. So let's move into the daily time frame. And from here, we can see that there's some positive volume coming in just a little bit at the end here, but I really haven't seen a big setup or stage of positive on-balance volume for a while before the price broke up. And I'm just scanning back into the recent bull markets to see, was there a lot of positive buying before it broke out? Not really. Here, it had some positive buying before it went up. We had a big pullback, and then we had the charge up. So it's going to be volatile on its way up, pulling back on its way up, pulling back. So get ready for your Elliott wave stuff as we're unfolding this next move. Just a quick move into some of the closer time frames now. I want to see the character of this buying. And so for this video, I'm really just recording it so that I can go back and take a look at it and compare it later. But really, it's not giving me anything striking in this indicator. Now, the MACD weekly, like the relative strength index weekly, this is pretty interesting to me because we have the cross to the positive here back at the same time as the relative strength index was crossing higher, and this did not cross negative as we came across this pullback. So it held its positive stance here, and we are positive histograms picking up now. Let's zoom into the daily time frame on Dogecoin MACD indicator now. This looks really great. Just because we're in the pullback to the number 3 point of a bigger 1, 2, 3, and we're making this consolidation with it flaring wider over these last few days here, this last 2 weeks. Let's zoom in on the 12-hour time frame. So again, it's kind of rocky, it's going back and forth, but generally we're starting to see a more positive stance in this. So for me, this is a really early indicator. Now I want to go into the weekly view of the Ichimoku cloud and take a look at this. The conversion line is below the baseline, so it hasn't crossed over to give us the first signs of spring really here in the weekly. When we move into the daily, okay, this is the first signs of it, but nothing soon enough. So it really wouldn't be, bad news to wait for it to break above the 35, retest these levels, and then if it's breaking above the 35, 36 level, there's something going on here. This is a really early reading just to get this data. Let's go into the 12-hour time frame. Same thing, really. It's going to break through all of these at the same time. It is so flat for such a long time that even the 4-hour is just hugging right along the prices. They haven't moved out across from that at all. So let's now go into the Bollinger Bands and see if we get any indication here. This is a really interesting Bollinger Band here. Actually, when I look back through history, I'm not seeing anything that is like this narrowness of the band. This band was quite thick, so was this very. And this band, while it got narrow, it really didn't narrow down the way we're seeing here. This is really coming to a real pipe that we haven't seen at all before. Let's zoom in on this now. On the daily time frame, right away, I don't really see any way to be making sense of this. It's gone sideways so long, except that it's not above this 200 period exponential moving average. So once it builds up above that level, then what we're going to see here is our 1, 2, 3 formation. This is the number 1 point, the lowest point in the downtrend. This is our number 2 point, and prices have come down to the potential number 3. It'll prove itself to be the number 3 if prices break up above this level. Then as soon as it breaks above the number 2 point, that proves that indeed was the number 3 point. And there's no way to know until it actually crosses. We could go sideways for a long time. We could go lower and make a new number 1 point. And so we're waiting now for this to build up. And I wanted to capture this data as it's setting up because we know what to look for. We know what the 1, 2, 3 formation looks like. We can get prepared for this in advance. We've seen what it's done in the past. It's kind of prudent, it seems to me, to risk a little bit on this at these price levels. So zoom into the 12-hour time frame, and I'm not expecting much from the Bollinger Bands except that it's not above the 200 period exponential moving average yet. And it's not until we get to the 4-hour time frame that we're starting to break up above that 200 period exponential moving average now. So we'll see if it holds up above this and stages. This is really good for the beginning of it, especially since we're already seeing Bitcoin dominance dropping after we've crossed this exponential moving average and prices are coming down. Many alts have already taken off. So those that haven't yet and they are still holding back in their 1, 2, 3 formation, I want to pay attention to them, and DOGE Coin is one of them. Thanks so much for tuning in to check out my special report on DOGE Coin. If you have a specific chart you'd like me to go through, leave a comment down below and I will start putting out more of these videos. Right now, it's really important to review these charts and get these opportunities. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you in the next video.